Grew up in Florida, graduated high school, and I always knew I wanted to come to Nashville. As soon as I graduated from high school, I went to Western Kentucky for 2 years, and that was kind of my version of like my parents wanted me to have a backup plan, and I was like, okay, like I'll go to Western Kentucky and get my elementary and music ed degree, and I'll go to Nashville every week and just like do my music stuff while doing that for them, you know? So I did that for 2 years, and then I felt the Lord call me to Belmont, which was insane, just given where my family was at the time. We were going through a foreclosure, and my sister was just getting into college, and money was super tight. So I kept praying about it, and I was like, this is an insane thing that God wants me to do. Like, this is seemingly impossible. Like, there's no way I could do this financially. But I kept praying about it, and God was like solidified, like, yes, I want you to apply to Belmont for the songwriting program, and I want you to go to Nashville. I was like, okay. So I didn't tell anyone that I was going to do this, and I applied online for like a transfer orientation, and as soon as I stepped on Belmont's campus, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be here. So then, still didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to freak out, and I don't know, when you like tell people and they start to doubt, then it gives you doubt, and I already knew what I heard from the Lord, so I was like, okay, I'm going with this, we're rolling. Right before I came here, my dad sat me down at the table, and he said, Tay, you don't have a job, you don't have money for tuition for school, and you don't have a place to live. I need to know, like, right now, like, where you are going tomorrow, because I cannot help you beyond like what we've talked about, and I need to know, are you going back to Kentucky, or are you going to Nashville? I said, Dad, I knew it was going to terrify him. I said, Dad, I know this is scary, but if I have to live in my car and I have to work full time and go to school part time, I'm going to do that because the Lord told me I need to go to Nashville and I need to go to Belmont, and it might not look how I want it to, but I need to go and I need to be obedient. So he said, okay, Tay. Literally an hour later, this girl texted me that I met once in Nashville, and she was like, hey, I heard you're looking for a place to live. My roommate is moving out. Do you want to move in? And I was like, yes. So she emailed me the lease right then and there, and my dad's just like watching God like unfold all of this, which is insane. I like signed the lease, there's a key in the mailbox, move in. I was like, okay, I only got 2 more things, like money for tuition in like 2 days, and then like I need a job. So I got a job, and then I was waiting on the money for tuition, and I went to Belmont and I applied. You have like they do like a transfer day where you all like sit in a room and sign up for your classes. Anyway, so I go in there and I still didn't have money for tuition, but I had $3,000, which was one class, and I was like, okay, I'm signing up for one class. Like, I really didn't think this was how it was gonna go, but this is how it's going, so here we are. So I signed up for one class, and later on, like $3,000 more dollars came through, so I was able to do 2, but I went to school part-time and I worked full-time, and for 8 months it was really, really hard. And I just remember telling God, this is not what I expected. Like, I thought when you said go to Belmont, like, you're gonna make it easy and provide every single step of the way, and he was providing, it just wasn't how I expected, but that time taught me so much just about like being obedient, pressing in, and going still. So I worked for 8 months, and my parents, we talked, and they said, okay, we are going to save $8,000. You're gonna save $8,000 on your own, and your student loans should be able to cover the rest, and you should be able to go to school full time in the fall if we can all like pull this together. And I was like, okay. So I called them, and it was like June or July. It was summer. So I called them, and I was so excited. I'd worked my butt off for 8 months. So I called them, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I saved $8,000. Like, I'm going to school full time. Like, where are you guys at? And they're like, oh my gosh, like we did too. So you're going to school like full time in the fall. And I was freaking out. I was so excited. And a week later, my dad called me, and he was like, Tay, I'm really sorry, but like stuff for the house is falling through again. We have to use the $8,000 that we were gonna give to you for like the lawyer and for the house. So I remember being on Hillsborough Pike, getting that call from my dad, and I just started sobbing. Not because I was upset with him, I wasn't upset with my parents at all, but I just remember crying out to God, and I was like, God, like my earthly parents can't provide at this time, and I'm not mad at them for that. Like, sometimes it's how the dice get rolled, and it just happens, and that's okay. But like, I'm really sad right now, and you say that you're my dad, and I need you to provide. I need you to come through. You called me to Belmont. I am here. So then, within this week of my parents' finances falling through, and kind of mine at the same time, because that was like for me, and me crying out to God. I sprained my ankle and I had to go to the hospital. It was just like thing after thing after thing in this week, okay? So I'm just like hitting my parents with all these bills all of a sudden and feeling horrible and crying out to God, like, God, you're my dad, I need you to come through financially. And sprained my ankle, go to the hospital, deal with all of that. And there was this event called Immerse over at Lipscomb. And I was interning at a label at the time, at a Christian label, and they said, hey, we feel like you should take 3 days and go volunteer here. Like, we think you'd really love it and be really great for you, so why don't you go do this? So I sprained my ankle, and they called me and they were like, we heard you sprained your ankle, you don't have to come. I was like, no. I'm coming. Like, trust me, I'm coming. Even if I'm hobbling around, like, I'm not staying away from this. So I was going to pray for someone, and this guy approaches me, and he's coming to approach me to like pray healing over me, because I'm like all like wrapped up in crutches, everything. So this guy comes over to me and he prays over me 3 times, and like we had like a group of people praying over me, okay? And I got healed, which was nuts. So then he was like, I feel like the Lord is like calling you to like go, and like there's this transition. And I was like, dude, I just got to Nashville. Like, there's no way God's calling me to go again. Like, I know I'm supposed to be here. And he was like, well, maybe it's not like a full-blown like you moving, just pray about it. So all this financial stuff still going on. And I prayed about it, and God was like, yeah, I want you to go to California for this like 3-week ministry program. I apply and I get in, and I was like, Lord, I'm not using that $8,000. Like, that is for Belmont. Like, you know that is for school. That's on reserve. Like, if you want me to go do this, then like you're gonna have to provide for that. So God said, send them an email, just like short, sweet, to the point. I think it was like 3 sentences, I kid you not. And it was just like, hey, I feel like I'm supposed to be here. Are there any like scholarships or grants or anything I can apply for? And God just told me to send that. And I was like, okay, cool. So I like sent it off, and I was waiting. And I only had enough money in my bank account at that moment to book a flight to California, to book my flight there and back. And I just felt like I was supposed to book that flight, and I didn't know if I was going yet. And I was like, okay, God, here we go. Like, I'm booking this flight with like a little bit that's left in my bank account. And the next day I was just like waiting around and praying and just like jumpy at every single text and call that my phone would get. And I just remember God being like, chill, have a great day. Like, enjoy your day. I'm taking care of this. So I put my phone down and just enjoyed the summer day, and I miss a call. And I listened to the voicemail, and it was this girl. We got your email and we prayed about it, and there was actually a Belmont alumni that submitted money for a Belmont student to go to this, and you're the only Belmont student. So we're giving you this money, like your tuition's paid, you just need to raise money for your food and housing. God told me exactly how to do that, and he made the way, and I went out there. But that was foreshadowing to Belmont for me. So before I went to California, I'm in Belmont's financial aid office literally every single day. I drove them nuts. I kid you not. Like, I sat in there, like I walked in every day. I was like, is there another scholarship I can apply for? Is there another grant I can apply for? And they're like, nope, like, bye. Essentially, like, there's nothing they could do for me. I applied for everything, and like nothing was coming through. And I was like, God, what on earth? But I just kept going there every single day. So I go into Belmont, and this was the day before I was leaving for California, and God had come through on that. So I'm sitting in there, and this guy who I'd been talking to like almost every single time, I sit down in his office, and I was like, is there anything, like anything else? Like, I'm leaving town, like tuition is due in 3 weeks, and like this is all I have, but that's not enough. And he was like, Taylor, there's literally nothing here. Like, I can't do anything. Like, you're not eligible for any of these other things. He was just like, I'm sorry. And in that moment, God said, you're gonna get a grant. And I was like, so I said, I leaned over at his desk and I said, sir, I don't mean to be rude, but I know I'm gonna get a grant. Even if you don't see it yet, or it's not there, and if I don't see it yet, I know the Lord's gonna give me a grant. And he literally sat back in his chair and he goes, okay. So then God did a similar thing, and he said, just send them an email saying this. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing now. So I send them an email, and he emails back, and apply for this, you're not eligible, but like just in case, like I'm gonna present it to the board. So apply for it, denied, which we knew I would be denied. I'm calling him every single day, and I was like, God, this is in your hands, I'm not there, like you're just gonna have to provide, and I'm just trusting you to come through. You came through with California, you're gonna come through with Belmont, I just know it. So 3 days before tuition is due, I'm still in California, I get a call from this financial aid guy at Belmont. And answer the phone in Trader Joe's in California. He goes, Taylor? I was like, yeah. He was like, this is so-and-so from the financial office at Belmont. And I was like, okay. He was like, so we had a grant come through. And I was like, yeah? And he was like, and we decided to give it to you. And I was like, what? Like freaking out in Trader Joe's, okay? Just like, I just stopped dead in my tracks and I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're so overwhelmed with emotion. You can't even cry, you can't even talk. You're just like, what on earth, God? And I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, yeah, like it's gonna cover this much. Can you like cover the rest? The amount of money that I had saved, that $8,000, okay, split between 2 semesters. 2, because the grant covered the portion that like my parents would have needed to cover and more, which was nuts. So every single time, God did that, which was insane, like every single semester. So hallelujah, God brought me to Belmont.